What is up, everybody? Joe Quills here with you on this Tuesday night for another edition of the Philly Guy Speaks. And that was Led Zeppelin Hot Dog. And I know, wait, why are you playing Hot Dog on a Tuesday night? You know, what's the significance of it? Well, it's Dollar Dog Night at the ballpark. I didn't go down because I had to work. And thought it'd be a good song to play. This podcast is not brought to you by Pepto-Bismol tonight, even though the game at the ballpark should be brought to you by Pepto-Bismol, both because of all the hot dogs consumed and also the fact that the Phillies have shit the bed tonight, losing 8-3 in the eighth. I do want to thank the Phillies bullpen for that, for me getting the over on tonight's game. The over-under was 8, but me knowing my weather, I figured, okay, well, wind's probably going to be blown out. It's blown out a lot. Let me bump that up to 9.5 so I can get like plus 130 something or whatever it was. Well, I got it. Didn't expect it to go over 9.5 when it was 1-0 after 5, but I will gladly take that over any day of the week. So I do want to welcome everybody in. Mickey Delaney here, PenguinAZ is here, and I'm sure others will be crawling in as we go on here tonight. Got a couple of stories here tonight. how to lose a no-hitter, how to lose a game and yet still throw a no-hitter. The Angels minor league team put a whole new spin on that last week. We'll get to that. How to throw a no-hitter and hit for the cycle. Which is more impressive? How about when you do both in the same game? I'll tell you about that as well. We have a new addition to the Philly Big Five. I'll tell you about that as well. But as you know, I do like to get off on tangents and all that stuff. So, but we'll get to it. Mickey wants to know when is the Flyers playoff game. Couldn't care less. Somebody there was a question on Twitter the other night. Are the Flyers cursed by Kate Smith? I said you got to be in contention for a few years and lose in some stupid ass ways for it to be the curse of Kate Smith. But this was a rebuilding year, and we expected this in Philadelphia. Now, the Seattle Kraken, they can lick my crack for what I care. No, but Dave Hackstall, he'll fuck it up in the playoffs. Trust me. I'll take whoever Seattle's playing. I'll take Seattle's opponent in 5 here. So I'll take Seattle's opponent in 5. I should be a dick to Mickey and say that Seattle will lose in. Wait a second. Let me try it again. What's that? Let's make it nice and loud so Mickey can hear this. There we go. Got to mess with Mickey because he messes with me too. Because he messing with me with when's the Flyers playoff game. Oh well. But what time does Seattle Supersonics play? Oh wait, I forgot. They don't even have an NBA team in Seattle. Sorry about that. Man. So let's get to it here on this Tuesday night here. Woke up to some breaking news today because apparently there was a press conference at the thank you, Mickey. Mickey says, good comeback, Joe. So there was a little bit of a press conference this morning. I woke up to it, found it on my I think it was, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. It was on my social media. And ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say that I am the alum of a Big Five school finally. And I don't have Dean on here. Oh, yeah, I have it. So my Drexel Dragons are a Big Five team finally. I know you're saying, what the hell's the Big Five? Well, the Big Five is an informal league that we have in the city of Philadelphia. And up until this past season, it was Temple, St. Joe's, LaSalle, Penn, and Villanova. 5 Division I schools that all played each other every year. Round robin competition, and the winner of the Big Five would usually be, in most over the last 10 years, it's been Villanova for the most part. But you do have the odd year. But now they have added Drexel to the Big Five as of this year. Now, it's still not a real conference. It's just a competition between the 6 schools in order to spark interest back up into the Big Five because they had a doubleheader last year at the Palestra. The Palestra is at the University of Pennsylvania. That's where all the Big Five games used to be until Villanova got high and mighty and said, we can't play at the Palestra anymore. We're too big for this. We're too big for the other schools in the city. Well, first of all, Villanova isn't even in the city. They are actually on the main line in Delaware County. Delco! But you know, I mean, it's that also because you don't have the local broadcast like you used to with games like these city series rivalry games because ESPN has college sports by the balls, plain and simple. So you got to find out, is it on FS1 because of Villanova? Is it on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPNU, ESPN 88? You got to do some major digging because it's either on a national scale or it's on ESPN Plus, which luckily I do have, but you don't have what we had in my day where you could turn on Prism, which was a combination sports and movie channel that occasionally did show those adult movies, softcore adult movies at 2:00 in the morning. But and I know Mickey would have watched them all the time. He would be looking for that Big Johnson that he's talking about in the chat right now. But yeah, Drexel is the newest member of the Big Five, and I know what you're saying. Wait, Big Five, but there's 6 schools? Well, think about it. The Big Ten has 14 teams. The Big 12 has 10 teams. So, Atlantic 10 has 14 or 15 teams now. That number doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just a corporate name for the conference now, as opposed to just being 10 teams in the Big 10, 12 teams in the Big 12, 5 teams in the Big 5. But what they're going to do here, the Big 5 officially welcomed Drexel, and there's a new series format, and the champion will be determined by a Big 5 triple header. And I don't know why they're calling it the new Wells Fargo Center, because of the fact that it's the same building. It's just that they've done they have done the they have done reconstruction and renovating the arena for the last couple of years. But why they're calling it the new Wells Fargo Center, I don't know, just to make it seem like that. So this new series will have 2 groups of 3. And I believe that this rotates every year. So you may not see Villanova, St. Joe's, and Penn in the same in the same pod as they're calling it, and you won't see Temple, LaSalle, and Drexel in the same group. I think you're going to see St. Joe's and LaSalle in different pods here because they are in the same conference. So they may do that to try to not to have them play a non-conference game, unless you decide and get the okay from the conference. Okay, can we have them playing the same pod and have it as not only a Big 5 game, but also a tournament game or a conference game? So, which would be the Atlantic 10. So, the round robin will be on campus at the on-campus arenas, and I imagine LaSalle will go to Drexel, Drexel will go to Temple, just because, like, for example, if you had Villanova and Drexel, there's no way in hell Villanova is going to Drexel. But what will happen is on December 2nd, a Saturday, all teams will participate in a Big Five Classic triple header, with the first seed in each pod playing for the championship. And I don't like the way that they word this. And this isn't Crossing Broad who I got this from. This is actually the actual press release that came out through Wells Fargo centerphilly.com. They say here the first place teams will be playing for the championship. The second place teams each will be competing for second place. That should be third place, in my opinion. And they say the third place seeds will be competing for third place. That should be fifth place. But that's just me being the person that knows this shit. And this is something that they're trying to do to grab interest back into the Big Five because it has been waning over the last 20 years. All the schools agreed that there was some need of a shot in the arm. While doing two pods and playing a triple area may or may not be a solution, it's a good try. It's good to try something different, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so Drexel is going to be included in that. So actually, I got another story here later on when I get to it here that I'm going to do, because I saw the article on Crossing Broad. I actually saw it on another site here, but I'm going to use Crossing Broad's article there when we get to it there. So, do I have brain farts? No, I got regular farts tonight. I mean, it's so bad I don't even have to pull my own finger. What up, Penguin? I don't think it. Well, you know what? I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go into low bandwidth mode here. Hopefully that'll help you out here. So hopefully that helps you out. Oh, you are good. Okay. Well, fuck it. I'll take the bandwidth off then. Low bandwidth off. So. Oh, okay. It's on your end, but yeah, I'm always gonna think it's me, even if it's on your end. So, just me making sure everything's all squared away. So, yeah. Now that's more of a local story than what we're talking about here, because I'd like to expand outward to other news stories, just because, and things that caught my eye. Just because. Excuse me. Because even though I am the Philly guy and I speak a lot, I like to vary everything up because I'm trying to draw a diverse and audience from around the country and around the world. So, Hawks or Miami? I did see the Hawks were winning. I don't even know why I still have the Phillies game on, but I do. All right, I changed channel. Hawks are up 8 with 6 minutes to go. This would be great for the Sixers because you would not get Miami in the second round, and Miami owns the Sixers. Jimmy Butler lives rent-free in the Sixers' head, in my opinion. And PenguinAZ took the Hawks for $20 with a coworker. Well, don't let the boss know, because if you do, you may be violating the code of conduct, and gambling is not allowed at Bushwood. But yeah. Well, let's get to the NBA here, and I'll give some thoughts here. I mean, I'm not the most proficient person when it comes to the NBA, but I can give you thoughts here and there. I'm just making notes here, so when I write the notes up for the podcast and also for AJ for the YouTube video, you can do everything to have everything ready to go here. Okay, so let me pull up. I had to kill Facebook there because somebody decides I am me when I have my even when I posted earlier this afternoon, hey, I got a show tonight at 9:15, and it wasn't Mickey for once. PenguinAZ said going to knock, but having a beer and a cigar and has crazy hair. Well, I got crazy beard face. I don't know. But, so what we know so far, it looks like Atlanta may defeat the Heat here. The Heat is up 11 with 6 minutes to go here, 102-91. Go here. There we go. Let's go to playoffs here. Actually, we can do it here. So tonight we have the Lakers and Minnesota. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say it right now. Minnesota, I would not be surprised if they lose 2 straight games after what Rudy Gobert did. And I'm not sure if you saw it, and if you did, you're probably under a rock considering it was the last game of the season. Rudy Gobert punched a teammate in a timeout huddle and went, and I lost PenguinAZ there. I was going to bring him in. So, yeah, Rudy Gobert was having an argument with another teammate during a timeout. Took offense to what the teammate was saying, and he boom, right hand, and he left. And then then another player busted his hand against the wall. So it was an epic shit show for Game 82 for Minnesota, as they have to go to LA for a game tonight, and then they have to fly back if they lose, which they probably will, and play, and would have to play the winner of the game tomorrow night, which would be between New Orleans and Oklahoma City. So, but it looks like Oklahoma City may be getting too good too soon because of the fact that they have so many draft picks right now in the first round draft picks over the next couple of years that it's disgusting. And they're loaded for bear, and hopefully, for their sake, they get to be who they are.
What's up?
PenguinAZ's here. Welcome aboard, man. Hold on a second.
What up?
What up, man? Hair's not that bad.
Just hanging out. I got crazy hair tonight, so.
I've seen much worse.
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to I'm gonna bring the laptop out. So, give me about 5, and then because I'm having a hard time hearing you on my phone.
Okay.
I'm on my phone, so I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. So I'm gonna drop
kick me off, and then I'll be right back on.
I'm gonna
go get the laptop.
Yeah.
So I could be outside.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. You're welcome.
Sorry about that.
No problem. All right, PenguinAZ will be right back. Let me just check one thing here as well. I just want to check one thing on top of that here because that's the mic volume. Okay, so I'm just fixing my microphones. Okay, so my microphone's good. Okay, just wanted to check that as well because I do tend to speak softly. I still got work on the brain, so but I want OKC to win it all just so that Mickey has to be a sourpuss until the next basketball season, but it won't be this year. But who knows? But Misty, I gotta bust Mickey's balls because he busts mine all the time. So just the way it is with us, having fun here on this Tuesday night. So the matchups that we know so far. Sacramento takes on Golden State in the West. Sacramento has their first primetime game on ABC Sports since 2007, according to whatever site that I saw it on, Awful Announcing, I think it was. And, being in a small market like Sacramento is, and on top of that, you've been out of the playoffs since 2005. They're finally back in the playoffs for the first time in nearly 18 years. It seems like the last year or two, all the teams that have been out of the playoffs for a long time have returned. The Mariners did it this past season. The Phillies did it last season. Sacramento this year. Not only that, they won their division, I believe. They won their division. Now, in terms of playoffs, it doesn't matter. They just take the top 8 teams, I think. And if you're listening to this podcast after the fact, or you're watching on YouTube, or you're watching here on nofilter.net, my shows are archived on here. They're archived on YouTube. I believe if you got a really shit division, I believe if you're, I think with the playing games, I think I call them playoffs, even though they're a one-game matchup where they're in this no man's land because they're not technically the playoffs, but they're not technically the regular season. You just call it the fucking playoffs, NBA. But you have the possibility, although I think it's near impossible, that a team could win the division and not get into playoffs, I believe. But it's the mathematics of it are near impossible, but you get the idea. So Sacramento gets in and probably draws the team that they would not want to face here in Golden State. So many championships, even though they've been ice cold on the road this year, 11-30. Now they had injuries, but they're the team I would not want to face because if they can figure things out and steal one of those first 2 games, that series is over. There's no way Sacramento is going to win at Golden State in the postseason. At least not Sacramento. I could see other teams that are ahead of them in the standings beating them in Golden State, even though Golden State was 33-8 at home. You could possibly see Golden State win that in 5 or 6. They just got to figure out how to win a game in Sacramento, which, it's going to be tough because of the fact that you got fans that are going to be overly excited because it's the first time they got to see the postseason in Sacramento in almost 20 years. So at least that's what I would think here. And it's the late game on Saturday. The other matchup that's known as of right now is Phoenix and the Clippers. We'll see what happens with that because KD is back. Him and his 85 burner accounts. You have the Clippers who, they're always banged up with Kawhi and PG-13, and I don't have a good read on that series at all. I'll have to research it further. Cleveland plays the Knicks. And if you thought the Knicks fans were excited to win a game in a first-round series, they may tear the city down if the Knicks advance past the first round, tell you the truth. But it looks like, that looks like to be a good series. I lean towards the Knicks right now, only because they had some recent experience in the playoffs. Cleveland, even though they have the players who've been there, they haven't been together in the playoffs. And they hadn't been in the playoffs in a few years since LBJ left Cleveland for LA. LBJ, Lebron. And then we have what Mickey's mentioning as well, the Sixers and the Nets at 1 o'clock on Saturday. I will be watching that. Probably be just waking up at 1 o'clock because Friday night is my working most of the night, between working my real job over to my right and then working on my audio only podcast. No idea what I'm going to talk about. I could talk about the Lexington at Keeneland Racecourse. It's the final prep race for the Kentucky Derby, but it's not a top race. It's one of those last chance races if you're like right on the cusp. Like if you're in 22nd, 23rd place and you can get 20 points for the win, maybe you can leapfrog one of the top, the 19th horse, since we have a Japanese horse that gets an automatic bid. We'll go through all that because I want to go through all the horses as well. Let that finalize and go from there. So, but Sixers and Nets, Sixers got very lucky because they could have gotten Miami. And Miami knocked them out last year, I believe. Jimmy Butler is the thorn to the Sixers side. Not because of anything Jimmy Butler did. It was because the Sixers didn't sign him. And Jimmy Butler was that guy that you want on this team. And he can fit well with Joel Embiid. And they're good friends even off the ice. I almost said off the ice. Let me give myself one of those just for shits and giggles. I mean, they're good friends off the court. And you can see that they're still friends after the fact, because I was at the Sixers and Heat last week with AJ and Duncan Dad, and they were talking a lot on the court, and you could tell it wasn't trash talk. It was just two guys talking. It is what it is. So, Jimmy Butler. If that's who you're talking about, the guy from Miami. He was here with the Sixers for most of one season. He was with the Sixers when they lost to Toronto in 7. Toronto won the championship that year. It was at Kawhi shot that bounced on the rim 4 or 5 times before it finally fell in. I had to dramatize that as well because that's what it was like to watch that ball just turn just enough to get below that 50% thing where you just know it's going to fall and it breaks the hearts. But I think Jimmy Butler, in terms of when he was here in Philly, I think he wanted to be the 1A because if I use a horse racing term, 1 and 1A, sometimes what happens in horse racing, and Penguin, I'm going to bring you in a moment. Now, how I see 1 and 1A is basically as even as possible, but it's just the way it is, and he ended up going to Miami, got the money he wanted. The Sixers wanted Kobe, Tobias Harris, and shit happened. So let's bring in Mr. Wild Hair here, the Penguin AZ. As he adjusts his settings here. There we go. And he put a hat on, man.
Well, yeah, I had. Well, yeah. All right, hold on.
I'm joking around,
Well, I had to, I had to represent a little bit.
Yeah, that's true as well. I mean, because the one thing with me, doing good. How are you tonight?
Good, man. Thanks for letting me on. Sorry about the little technical difficulties. What's up, Mickey Delaney? I know you're out there.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, I am a Lakers fan, but like I told him, I'm not a Lebron fan. So
yeah,
I don't think the Lakers are going to get past whoever they play unless LeBron goes on a crazy streak. But we'll see.
It's possible. I mean, LBJ does.
Yeah.
This is what he plays for. He could do nothing. Yeah, I mean, he can pull a Zion Williamson and not play the whole season, then mysteriously show up in the playoffs.
Yeah. But the thing is, just like you said, like, why do you wait to, perform at the level that you should, that you're getting paid to perform at?
Yeah. I mean, but he did have a legitimate injury, though. I mean, because he did say something popped in his foot.
Right.
Or somebody said.
I mean, yeah. But on Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid, I mean, like you said, they have a little conversation. I think Jimmy Butler has been a really great player. I just think at times he demands a little bit more attention from everybody, and I think that maybe chastising him a little bit. Like, hey, But I don't know. I mean, he's been everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and I
mean, he was with the Wolves, wasn't he? He was with the Wolves for a while there.
The Bulls.
Yep.
The Sixers. Let me double check here. Let me just make sure I'm not missing a team in there. But I think with him, I think in some regards it was also he started out in Chicago, went to Minnesota. Minnesota traded him to the Sixers, and then he ended up with the Heat in free agency. So I think maybe like the issues that he had in Chicago and in Minnesota, I think it was a combination of immaturity, possibly. And if somebody's listening to this after the fact and they say, oh, he wasn't immature, and it could be that, because sometimes you do grow up and, sometimes your past does haunt you later on in your career or in life. I mean, look at politics, all of a sudden you hear somebody did something from 20 years ago. It's like,
and that's so that is what gets me the freaking most right there. When you want to talk about shit that happened 20 years ago.
Mhm.
Like, why you want to call me out on this shit? Why wasn't it bad then? What makes
Yeah.
it so much bad now? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And that's
Really, like, come on.
and even when I talk about a lot of the stuff when it comes to Twitter, since it's so easy to find, you know, Joe
Have you been
said
unchecked? Or no?
if
Weren't they unchecking all kinds of people or unverified like Tony yet? Or
I
no?
never had a check mark,
Hmm.
but I have on there on my name, no check mark needed.
Yeah, I
little
saw that.
little
Yeah.
little dig at a little bit of a dig at Elon Musk. So
Yeah.
but just let you know, Atlanta did advance to the playoffs. They defeated Miami tonight.
Yeah,
So
I'm watching now. It's been on the TV, but
it's
I just had it
Boston.
on. But
Yeah, so Boston and
Atlanta's
Atlanta.
willing to trade Trey Young out,
Wow.
you know? I mean, they said they're willing to go options, but I think Trey Young might be another Jimmy Butler, where, you know,
Yeah.
like if stuff doesn't go his way at times, he's
Yeah.
gonna act really immature, like you
Yeah.
said, you know?
But we
And
saw
finally, you
what
know,
he
you
was.
need to, yeah.
Yeah, but we
When
saw
he
what he did
shines,
a
he
couple of years
shines.
ago. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We
when he
saw 2
shines, he
years ago.
shines, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, these guys come in with a big ego sometimes. Like, you know, they were really good in high school, they were really good in college, and they come in and I've talked to some athletes that, you know, went from college, from high school to college. He's like, man, when you get to college, it's a whole different breed of
Mm-hmm.
athletes and how good they are. And, you know, you think you're good and you might be like top running back, quarterback in your state. You go and play
Mm-hmm.
with some of these other people, man,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably like 20th ranked, you know, and
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Some guys are just like built, they're huge. He's like, you see some of these linemen, you know, they're 300 pounds, 6 foot, 6'3". I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you
I
ain't gonna get
mean,
through these guys.
in high school, it's rare to see a 300-pound offensive line in high school, but once you get to the pros, I mean, not even the pros, the college, I mean, 300-pound, an average 300-pound lineman or a line, that's small,
Yeah.
even for probably Division II or 1AA even.
And then the way they move, it's
Mhm.
just crazy.
Yeah.
They're freaking fast for
Yeah.
how big and
Mhm.
you know how big they are. I'm like, it's just crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, it is crazy. And
Anyway, I won't take some of your show.
no, this is what this is for, you know? Just have some fun here.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Lakers tonight with the fact that Rudy Gobert got suspended?
I don't know if it would make a difference just because it might mess with the cohesion of the team. But you know, like the Lakers have been on a hot streak ever since the
Yeah.
All-Star game. They've lost like 7 games,
Yeah.
so they're riding on a little momentum. But like I've told some of the guys at work, and I told these, I'm like, you can't count out these teams that have nothing to lose. They got nothing to
Yeah.
lose. They've already made it to here. You know what? If they lose, hey, that's that experience. Now we kind of know what we need to do with this, blah, blah, blah. It's just a good experience for the whole team, the coaching staff, just the whole team in general.
Yeah. And they did make a couple of nice trades there where
Yes.
they're not, I mean, it's kind of like when I talk about baseball trades when July comes around. It's not necessarily the sexy trade where you get the sexy name, the star name. It's those
Yep.
guys that fill in the holes that you may not know too much about, but then it's like, oh shit, he's doing what we wanted
Yes.
Russell Westbrook to do, for
3 players.
example.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
all the
You
little
know, these
things.
guys come in, they come in. They're guys that are, for them, that's all they want to do is go practice, hit the gym, or hit the field, or hit batting practice, whatever, like ground balls. They're everyday workers that are just trying to get out there and be good every day. I don't want
Yeah.
to be. I don't want to have a team of best players. I want a team of good to average to good players that put in 110% every freaking day.
Yeah.
Give me that. I'll take that over anything.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, for example, when Bryce Harper came here, I'm using him as an example right now. Even though he's a superstar, he didn't take the superstar money and bankrupt the Phillies with 40, 50, $60 million a year contract. His contract is essentially about 25 million a year for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So, or however many years is left on the contract. So it is a contract that brings the team flexibility to bring in Castellanos, Schwarber, Turner. See what happens with Nola, even though I think he's gone after this year. But it's it's the team mentality that you need, and the Lakers GM did find a way to get those pieces they needed at a lower cost because the players want to prove themselves. They want to play for a winner. It's a nice mix that they have between the star players and those other guys that we're talking about.
Yeah, it just, you look at, even that was a great point where these quote unquote star players, they take a pay cut or they're willing to extend their contract of $100 million contract over 7-8 years, but they take increments in it, so that way they could let the team still get players that, hey, if I'm pretty good, why can't I expect a good amount of change out of this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
look
exactly.
at the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, yes, he gets a bigger contract, but he extends his pay through the years that he's there to allow the team to get players that are going to help him.
Yeah.
You look at Lamar Jackson, no, he wants to get paid. You look at Deshaun Watson, he wants to get freaking paid. You look at all these guys, well, we can money for an owner to, or for the team to spend on players that are free agents, that, that they just, the chemistry with that team is gone. Some of these players, it's like, the vibe is gone. I think for me, it's all about the vibe. If you got a team that's vibing, that believes in each other, that knows, like, you know what? If I don't run fast enough, I know your Q are going to run faster than me to get that ball, do this, to do that. And that, it takes the coaching staff, really is the biggest for me.
Yeah.
Like, you got to have guys that believe in your freaking system.
Yeah.
That's why some coaches don't work out somewhere, because, you can't teach these. They're just either you're too hard or they're too much of a knucklehead, or they don't respect you.
Yeah. Yeah, and you take into account Joe Girardi last year. The team was pretty much stagnant. They didn't get off to a good start, and they made the gutsy move of firing Girardi, moving up Rob Thompson to the manager, and things took off for them. I mean, there was bumps in the road along the way. They got in the last day of the regular season, or 2 days left in the season, or 3 days left in the season, and they did what they had to do. They got in, and we found out once again, like, for example, in baseball, even though we're talking basketball, all you need to do is get into the playoffs. Once that happens, you got, all you have to do is get in, and, it's just prove yourself.
Yeah. I mean, once you're in there, and then it's a whole different, it vibes up your team. I think it just gets, it's a whole different feeling to get to the playoffs. In baseball especially, you play so many games and finally be like, all right, like, you're riding a big wave. I think anybody, like, look at the Rays. They haven't lost a freaking game. Or have they?
They were 10-0. Let me check what they did.
No, I think they're 11-0. I saw it. I think I might have saw it, but
did they win
I'm
today?
like, geez. Like,
Yep,
How-
11-0.
how-
They won 7-2.
And you look like it was batter after batter, and they're, are they maybe swinging for the fences? Is all this new baseball rules affecting it? Yes, probably, but hey,
Yeah.
the Rays are taking advantage of it. So whatever they're doing,
Yeah.
to go in 11-0 in baseball, I don't think it hasn't happened. I don't know. When was the last time it happened, Joe? Can you look that up for us?
Um,
I think it might have been in the 60s if I'm somewhere, if I might have seen it. But,
I think Milwaukee in 87 was 13-0
oh,
to start a season. The 87 Brewers and the 82 Braves started out 13-0.
okay.
Um,
Okay. I'm way off.
The Oakland A's had 11 in a row in 1981. And the only team to start off 10 or more or better and win the World Series was the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1955.
Oh, okay. And that's still okay. So if the season was shorter, maybe 50 games, winning 11 straight is really good. I would put, but it's double that. So you think about it, it's phenomenal, but is it really, you could go 30, lose the next 30, or
Yeah.
win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, and lose, and like the D-backs.
Yeah. Well, Phillies lost again tonight. I mean, they won last.
What's up with them Phillies? What do you think, Joe? I want to hear your opinion.
I really think
Is it World Series?
It's a little bit of a World Series hangover. Tonight, Aaron Nola ran out of gas in the 6th inning. Like to thank him for that because I decided to play over on the Phillies and Marlins tonight. I thought I'd be smart because I figured the wind was blowing out because I could feel the wind blowing in all day into my apartment. And I just had the one window open and I felt it where my work computer is. So I was like, you know what? 8 is too easy. I'm going over 9.5 runs at like plus 130.
Oh, why not?
I can tell you what it was here. I'm sorry. It wasn't plus 130. It was plus 165.
Bam! Even better.
Yeah, granted, I only had $4 on it because it was the last $4 in my account, but
right.
But
so it's funny you say that because I'm betting. I'm starting to pay a little attention more to UFC. So I use DraftKings. I don't have any FanDuel, so I bet on the Adesanya Pereira fight over the weekend. And all the guys, and one of the guys that really pays attention to the UFC, that used to work with me, was like, no, Adesanya is going to get worked again. He hasn't been able to beat this guy, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you know what? This guy is going in with nothing to lose. Just to make my reference back to these teams at times. Look at what San Diego State did in the March Madness tournament.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? And these guys were no-names. I don't know any of them. They weren't that big. Nobody was talking to them throughout the year. And now they're in, they made it to the Final Four and then, running for a championship.
Yeah. I mean, so Florida Atlantic.
Florida
Atlantic was.
Yeah, I took. Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take Adesanya. So I took him. I put $1. It was like at plus money. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to put $1 on it. Sure enough, I won. And they're like, one of the guys was like, oh, you only bet $1? I'm like, well, I didn't know if he was going to win. So I lose $1 or I gain 5 or 6, whatever,
That's when you lie and say you only had about $10 in the account. He doesn't have to know,
Well, I don't even have 100 on it. So, I mean, it's not that bad, Huh. But I do like 50-cent bets. And most of my bets, unless I hear them from like you or like Philly Guy or anybody that might throw some knowledge, I'm always betting the money line. I'm a money line guy.
Yeah,
Like I'm just gonna put my money on the money line. Most of the time, I'm going for the dogs, the underdogs. So
yeah.
I'll put 50 cents. And you know what? At times it might pay me $2, $3. Okay, I'm just gonna nickel and dime you to death, I guess.
I mean, and that's the
So
one thing I tell everybody on when I do the audio only podcast. So whenever I give out picks, even if I were to give a pick out tonight, which I'm not going to, always bet within your means. Always do what you're comfortable with. Don't go crazy. If like for example, the Pickett app that I have, and by the way, field goal.
oh yeah, tell me about that, Joe.
Okay.
I want to get it.
Okay,
Go ahead.
it's an app,
Okay.
and as long as you have 10 or more bets on an online app, on
Okay.
an online book, Pickett will pay you between $3 and $100. 1 in 100 people get $100, and I will get that as well as a return. So it's field
Oh
goal.
shit.
My code is field goal.
Now, do they
70.
tell you what picks you have to do,
No,
or
you
is
just
it just is it whatever? You just have to have place pretty much 10 bets, and then if you win, they'll pay you, or how does that work?
it's a registration bonus.
Okay.
Then you need either Venmo or Cash App or whatever. And you can draw that out of there because that's free money that they're giving you, and you can use that however you want. Now, what I do is I like to post my bets from time to time, and I see people that follow me and I follow them. I see their bets every once in a while as well. That
So
one
what'd you say it
girl,
was Pick'em? I'm gonna
Pickett,
download it right now.
Pickit.
Pickett Sports. Yeah, Pickett
Yeah,
Sports
it's a
bet
blue.
tracker. Okay. Yep. It's like four white hearts in a little
Yeah,
blue square box. Okay. The wife just said, "Really? More bet?" I'm like, "No, it just gives you another avenue."
and the one great
So,
thing about
what's the
Pickit
advantage
app,
for me to have this app?
it'll keep track
What's the
of all your
advantage?
It keeps track of all your wins and losses. Like I know, like
Okay.
in March, I was up like 300. I was 600 up in February. It keeps track of all your wagers. So if you're having a good month, you can go with that. And for some reason, my app is going all screwy on me, and I don't know why.
So refer friends for money. If your friends aren't here yet, refer them for a chance to win up to $100. All right, let's go.
My
Refer.
code, if I can.
We're doing this live, Joe. We are doing this live.
What is that? We're doing it live?
Yep, we're doing it live, baby. We are doing it live.
We're live. Doing
We're
live.
live. Yep, that's right. Damn right, we're live.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Turbocharge.
No, we'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
And I'm just giving the instructions here on Android. Use my referral code field goal 7450, and you'll get $3 and $100 just for downloading it, just for registering. And the one thing I would say with this is, you can get a nice network going with friends.
Oh, sorry, my mic was off.
No problem.
So, download the Pickett app on Apple or use my referral, and you'll get between 3 to 100. Okay, I'm signing in right.
You got to link. You got to link your account there and everything.
Okay.
For some reason, my app is all screwed up right now. when in doubt, turn the phone off.
Yeah.
And we'll turn that back on in
Well,
about a
you
minute.
don't do that all the time, Joe.
Don't do what all the time?
Turn the phone off, man.
No, I
That's
never
it,
do. Because I never know when like I will have a family
Oh,
emergency.
enter a referral code. Okay, there it is. All right. So field. Does it all have to be caps?
Play it safe.
Yeah. All right. I knew you would say something like that.
We're live.
Doing it live, baby. Turbocharged. Field goal. Field goal 74. All right, let's go. Bickett uses Booksy to link your account. Okay. DraftKings.
And I know this is great podcasting for those that are going to be listening to this after the fact, but you know, stuff happens. But you know,
All right.
but the good thing is you are going to
Thanks,
see.
Joe.
Retry syncing. Because I got two books on here. I got Sugar House, which is based out as a Pennsylvania book, and I got
What is it? The Sugar House, you said?
Yeah, it's a Pennsylvania casino.
Not the Sugar Shack. Or the Love Shack.
Or Sugar Tits.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. My thing's acting up. There we go. I think I got it now.
so you talked about the Drexel, right? You said you're gonna maybe hit the Drexel, moving the conferences.
Well, it's not moving conferences. What Drexel did, well, what they have in Philadelphia is they used to have a round robin non-conference teams between the five teams: Penn, St. Joe's, LaSalle, Temple, and Villanova. They used to play each other every year. Now, what they're going to do now to try to draw some additional interest into the competition, they're turning it into a tournament format where there's two groups of three schools. That each group will play each other in that little first round, let's say, and then the top team in each group will play for the championship. The two teams that finish second will be playing for third place, and the two teams that finish last will be playing for fifth place.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to draw some additional interest in that. So I say, hey, if it's going to work, it's going to work.
What do you think about it? You like it?
I want to see how it works out. Because there's going to be, and I know that there's some things where they're definitely not going to put Villanova, they're not going to make Drexel have, they're not going to have Villanova play at Drexel. Because Drexel is a glorified high school arena, even though I graduated from there twice. Yeah, it's a glorified arena. It's a glorified high school arena. LaSalle is basically the same thing, but they fit 4,000. Drexel seats 2,000, if that. But
Okay.
In the final day, Saturday, December 2nd, this upcoming season, it will be a triple header at the Wells Fargo Center.
Okay.
So I want to see how it turns out. I want to see how the format works before I can judge.
Yeah.
So we need to see it in action for a year or so.
So Drexel is a small school then, almost like what you would call like a community college, but a university, or no?
It's actually a big school.
Okay.
They probably, let me see the last set of numbers here for Drexel in terms of students on campus.
I mean,
students overall.
It's not nowhere near close to like ASU type, right? No, and the wife's saying no, so she must know. The wife went to St. Ambrose. I don't know if you know that. It's somewhere in Iowa or Davenport. She, yeah, Delaney, the Lakers are getting smacked by 5 already with 4 minutes
wow.
into the game.
The undergraduate enrollment at Drexel for 2020-2021 school year was 14,492.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's not.
Now, that
Okay.
probably also takes into account part-time undergraduate. It probably takes into account online, like I did. I did everything online. So I thought it was more than that, but it's still a big school. It's a city school. It's a commuter school for those that are in the city, but it's expensive as fuck. Tuition's probably about $50,000 a year. No, I'm sorry.
That's
The average. I'm sorry. The average annual cost before financial aid, $76,524.
Now, how do you? That was a topic that's always bothered me. The wife is still paying on a school loan that she's had forever.
Same here.
And that's so fucking crazy to me. Why it costs so much to try to better yourself through school. It costs so much, yet they push it all the time. Oh, you should go to school, stay in school, and after high school, go to a university and learn more, and you're gonna make more money. Well, yeah, I'm gonna make more money, but I'm also gonna be in debt about $250,000 that I'm gonna pay on for the rest of my life, pretty much.
Yeah.
They just make it so crazy.
Yeah, it's horrible. And that's why, even though I don't have that much left on my student loan, I think I got about $3,000 left on it.
It's crazy because I think that how much do you have, Ma, on your loan to pay? So she got like 1,500. So you guys are right. We're about the same age, so it's right up there. But I'm like, yeah. How long she's been paying on it for like 20 years?
Well, I paid
Right? Yeah.
my undergraduate off.
Oh. Okay, so she graduated college in 04, she says, but
Yeah.
still, it's like, you've been paying on it for 20 years. Shit.
Yeah, because what I did when I went to school the first time I quit, I had to pay whatever it was a month. And I think I had it on a 10-year plan because I was like, you know what? I just want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So my grandmother passed away in the early 2000s. I got a bunch of money. I was like, put some of it towards that, and I got out of it early. When I went for my master's degree, I got lucky because I not only had $8,000 from my job. I think I even though my mom got sick and I took a quarter off because I was like, there's no way I could take classes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So what I did was I turned it into a 3-year program. And when I went into that 3-year program, I ended up paying for a little bit for year 2, and then year 3, I took a student loan out, and I managed the student loan debt perfectly. It wasn't that much of a burden to have, whereas other people, they're not even done their paying off their student loan for their bachelor's degree, and they're going into that master's program and paying.
Yeah. And a lot of people defer. Well, when you defer, you're just adding more to the bottom line, and now you're just gonna be paying longer. Like that money just doesn't stop being owed. They're gonna get their money.
Yeah.
Coming out of high water. So
And
it's crazy. And you look at it. How many other countries, for lack of a better, why do you think there's so many like indie doctors and all this stuff from out of the country? Because their education is not as expensive as ours, and they get really good I don't
Yeah.
know why that is. That's so crazy. It amazes me all the fucking time because I could probably count on both ends how many times I've had an actual American doctor. Or even my wife is, oh, I hope it's not. I'm like, they're the only ones that have the qualifications. I don't know how they do it or what they do. I don't know what. So that's always boggled me. But
Yeah. Most
I
of
never
my
wanted to care to
doctors,
do the
yeah, most of my
out
doctors
here.
that, yeah, most of the doctors that I've crossed paths with, for medical issues that I may have
Yeah.
had, it isn't, oh, I don't want him because I can't understand a word he's saying. It wasn't anything
Right.
like that. It's just that I got lucky that every doctor I had was American, able to understand most of the shit they're saying. Now,
Yeah.
granted, I may not know what the medical jargon is, but if you dumb it down for me, that'll
Yeah.
help. But
And
yeah,
most of these guys, it's not like you can't understand them. They just, they got the knowledge. That's why they're here because
yeah,
they're good at what they do. Which I'm not gonna blame. And most of them you could understand them like great. Like
yeah,
it's great. Funny story. My wife, our first kid was, the gyno or the doctor that delivered her was, an Indian woman. She was great. You could My wife's like, I'm like, see, at times you can't stereotype these people because you never know who you run across. You don't know.
yeah. And
You
and
don't
the one
know.
thing I will say as well, I'm not the type of person that'll say, "Oh, that person is this, that person is that." I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less whether you're black or brown or yellow or
Yep.
green. Well, maybe green I'm a little worried about, but and I couldn't care less if it's male or female. I couldn't care less if you're really a male or you transition from a male to a female or vice versa. I couldn't care less. You know, if you've earned your degrees and you've proven that you're a good doctor in the real world and everything like that, do what you have to do within your job. I couldn't care less what you do. What you do on your personal time, that's you. I don't care.
And it
You
doesn't
know,
even have
that's
to be just in the doctor field or in the medical field.
yeah,
Yeah, some people are, just you're good at what you do, but
yeah,
I don't want all that extra whatever you do outside of what your profession is at times, I don't
yeah,
care. Look at Bud Light. Like, what's like that's crazy.
yeah,
What has happened with Bud Light, huh? I
yeah.
mean, I don't drink Bud Light, but
I don't. I rarely drank Bud Light when I was drinking. Only not because it was Bud Light before the. I don't know if you want to call it a controversy or whatever, but the way I didn't drink it because it looked like a urine sample. I mean, like I went joking around on Twitter last night. Um, um, one guy has his 10 questions. His name is Dr. Catfish Charlie, and he said he showed this video and he said, "Would you buy? I mean, what would be your slogan?" I said, same urine sample look, half the calories. And that's the thing, the way I operate my Twitter, I promote this shit. I'm sorry, this stuff. I shouldn't be calling it shit because unless
yeah,
it's
it's good stuff.
yeah. But in terms of everything I do, I'm not worried about all these little things here. I'm just having fun, and if it upsets somebody, then so be it. I mean, I even had a person and she blocked me. And I shit you not when I say this. I said word for word, face tattoos are trashy. Okay? Just here in this area, not arms or legs or tramp stamps or anything like that. And mind you, I'm the type of person that's like, that's interesting art, even though I would never do any tattoos because I'm a wuss. I find it interesting, the artwork behind it, But once you
Yeah.
get into here, it's trashy. She goes, "Oh, are my tattoos trashy?" I'm like, "Do you have any tattoos on your face?" No. Read what I said. Oh, well, you're saying all tattoos are trashy. No, reread what I wrote. So a year later, Charlie asked that question, what's the one thing that really pissed you off? I brought that tweet back up and then she blocked me. I'm like, okay, fine.
It's crazy you're talking about face tattoos
Yeah.
because I'm logging in on the laptop and I see this article on Amanda. Is that her name? Amanda Bynes.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me Amanda Hug and Kiss.
No, wow, that too. Well, no, yeah. So she's walking. It says, "Oh, she's being released from the mental hospital after being in there for 3 weeks." I'm like, all right. So I start reading. And I'm like, who is this chick? And the wife showed me. She's done a complete. Like I don't know if it was a 360. She did like a 720. I think she did like a full couple circles.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a freaking face tattoo, and it's like a heart on a cheek. I'm like, wow. And she's like black hair, jet black hair, with maybe some like white in the over here by the the near the hairline. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's dang.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, just what the heck? Like you say, like for me, tattoos on the face have been trashing to me. Like, that's something like for me, it'll just make me even uglier.
Yeah.
So, like, I was like, wow, it's gotten so bad for her. But who knows what everybody's going through?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
I'm not one to judge. I try not to.
No, and I mean, it's just the facial area that really, it's like, whoa, wait a second. But I don't care if you want to waste your money with that. Go right ahead. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a peek at my phone there for a second. I apologize, but
No worries.
I mean, we were talking NBA there. Boston now gets Atlanta.
So that's how that worked. So they'll play Boston will get Atlanta. Yep.
Yeah.
And the second playing game will play against the loser of the first playing game, correct? And then whoever wins that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow between Toronto and Chicago.
Yeah.
And
So whoever wins out of Toronto and Chicago will play the Miami Heat.
Yes, in Miami.
For one. Yeah. That's so crazy. Why would you let a loser team still have another chance? Well, I guess because of the record, right?
Well, the reason why they're doing it is they're trying to stop tanking. And I could have a whole episode on that, which I may do eventually. But
that tanking is so trash, but we won't talk about it tonight.
Yeah. But what they're doing is they're keeping the interest in for those teams that are 9, 10, 11 that still have a shot. Dallas got themselves into trouble because they sat all their stars and they eliminated themselves from the playoffs in game 81. But it draws more interest. It keeps teams interested at the end of the year. Me personally, I say get rid of the merit system, so to speak, with the lottery, which is a topic for another day. But I mean, it does make it interesting, but tomorrow's games are one and done games.
Which makes so if you lose, you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're 9 and 10.
All right. Lakers are down by 1 now, but it's still early.
Yeah,
it's still a lot of game left.
Yeah.
So what else is on the topic for tonight, Joe?
I
think you pretty much covered everything, no?
There was and I'm not sure if you saw this or not. I gotta
Excuse me.
see.
Let me go get a water can. I'll be
No,
right
not a
back.
problem. Not a problem. Um,
Go ahead. I'm still listening. So
I'm just writing something down here real quick. Now let me find that article here. I don't know where I had it exactly, and hopefully I don't get killed with IMs here on Facebook. Go here. I know this is great podcasting, by the way. And it happened over the weekend. Or so I thought. All right, I got to look it up here. I got to Google it here. All right, this was done by the AA team of the Anaheim Angels, LA Angels of Anaheim, Orange County, all that shit that Tony says. They are called the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Well, in this game, they played like trash. And I am going to share this here for you. This is a AA team. They lost 7-5 to the Chattanooga Lookouts. The Trash Pandas were leading 3-0 in the 7th inning. It was a 7-inning no-hit. It was a 7-inning game. Now, in minor league ball, what they do is they have 7-inning doubleheaders because they get the games in as soon as possible after a rain out, and they try to minimize the they try to minimize all the they try to minimize using players and getting them all worn out with this. So they have 7-inning games, and in the minor leagues, that's something that's been done for many a year. So the Trash Pandas were up 3-0 in the 7th inning, final inning of the doubleheader game, and Chattanooga scored 7 runs somehow without a hit. The 7 runs were scored on 6 walks and 3 hit by pitches. At that point, they ended up down 7-3, and they were able to register 2 other runs, but ended up losing 7-5. Trash Pandas pitcher Coleman Crow was responsible for most of the no-hitter, going 6 hitless innings, walking 2, and recording 6 strikeouts. Pitcher Ben Joyce only pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 5 runs, 1 earned, 4 walks, and registered the loss. Their last pitcher, Eric Torres, recorded 1 out before walking a batter and giving up 2 earned runs. And somehow they ended up losing 7-5. And now this is the same LA Angels franchise that a couple years ago, they drafted, their entire draft was pitchers. Everybody that they drafted the 1 year was pitchers. So you figure, hey, you got to have a couple of good pitchers, because I think that some of these pitchers are probably in that draft class. But they ended up with a 7-5 loss here somehow. How that happened, I don't know. I mean, that's one of those things where you have to be at the game to believe it.
Was it with the like walks and batters being hit and
Walks,
the game
hit
or not?
batters, errors. It was on. It was over the weekend, and I think I have it on here. I'm trying to see my Twitter here.
Rocket City Trash Pandas. Wow.
And that's the thing. Everybody has a cute name, no matter what it is now. It's no longer.
A Salt Lake Bees.
Yeah. Well, Salt Lake Bees, they've been like that for years.
Rocket City Trash Pandas. Inland Empire 66ers.
Yeah.
Highest Rice City. Oh.
I cannot believe I cannot find this article. But
Fan Nation.
Other than that one. I know this is great. I know this is great podcasting and streaming, by the way. Note to sarcasm.
This is top notch right here, Joe Q.
Oh, I know.
The Philly guy speaks, bringing it, yo.
Oh.
Bringing it live.
Yeah, but
doing it live.
I mean, I was reading this and it was crazy, the rundown of that seventh inning, because it's impossible to. It's pretty hard to score 7 runs, period, in a game.
Mm-hmm.
But to score 7 runs
with no hits,
without a hit.
Chattanooga. What is it? Oh, the Chattanooga Lookouts.
Yeah. Oh, I think I found it now. This is probably the tweet I was looking for. This is from Alec Downing at Alec Gator 13. Probably a fan down there. Base on balls, a pop out to the second baseman, another walk, strikeout. So at this point here, you're 2 outs. You're still up 3-0. Yep. And you got a chance with 1 more out to get out of the game and win 3-0. Instead, walk to bring in a run. An E8 must have botched a pop fly. 3 runs scored. 4-3. Hit by pitch. Hit by pitch again. 3 in a row. So that's 5. Another walk. That's 6. Yep. Another wild pitch, or a wild pitch scores a run, and then a hit batter, and then you get that final strikeout. So 7 runs without a hit somehow. But in other news that's related to minor leagues, and we're going to go to college here. And this is from ESPN. And I just found this on Instagram. I'm not going to look for the article. Brady Ware, Division II, University of Indianapolis, had a single, double, triple, and home run, also known as a cycle, and pitched 7 hitless innings against Drury University on Friday. Trying to see what that is. That's the home. Well,
is that the next Shohei Ohtani?
I just think it's Division II baseball, and you do have that.
Yeah.
But that
says a lot, to do this in Division II. That's you're moving up there.
And every once in a while you have a day like this.
Yep.
And there's the triple.
Every dog has a day. A good dog has too.
Yeah. That's probably the single. Or maybe the double. I don't know what order they're in. That's why I'm just looking at them. And that's probably the single because that's right to the right fielder. So the chances of getting a home run, and there's the final out of the no-hitter. So it's pretty hard to hit. It's hard to hit for the cycle. I did it once in Little League.
Nice.
But to throw a no-hitter in the same game that you hit for a cycle, that's probably a 1 in a billion opportunity, no matter what level you're in, whether it's Little League or college baseball or even Major League Baseball. And especially with the fact that it was a 7-inning game, you don't get as many opportunities at the plate, which obviously he did because it was a blowout win, 14-0.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, like you said, that's crazy. Like, when is it ever going to happen again? We won't be alive. Or I
That's
know.
probably never going to happen again.
Yeah.
Maybe Shohei one day, before he loses some speed. But I mean, he's the only pitcher that really hits right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jared Lorenzen, if I had that pitcher right, he used to pitch for the Reds, went to the Angels. When Joe Madden was still with the Angels last year, he wanted to use Lorenzen as a pinch hitter in an extra inning game, but he sent him home because he was the starting pitcher the next day. So, oops, I can't use his bat now. But yeah, that's such a rare feat as well.
You've been bringing the heat tonight, Joe.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
man.
try to do that every night.
There you go.
Now,
So, what do you got? What else you got going on?
I did see this article here, and I'm bringing it back to Crossing Broad here, only because that's the link that I found here. Not sure if you saw this, and you can give me your opinion on this in a couple of seconds, and I'll give you mine in return. The Brewers are extending last call, and now the Phillies are on the clock. Now, for the first time in memory, and this is from MLB.com's Adam McCalvey, who wrote this portion of the article. Crossing Broad is a sports blog, but for the first time in memory, the Brewers are permitting fans to buy a cold one beyond the end of the 7th inning. President of Business Operations Rick Schlesinger confirmed that the Brewers, on an experimental basis, are extending alcohol sales at American Family Field through the end of the 8th inning. This amended policy was implemented for the final 2 games of the team's home opening sweep of the Mets, and Schlesinger said there were no reported problems.
Yeah, there's not going to be no reported problems when people can have more beer. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you're at a field or at a sports arena that has got big rivalries, like anytime you deal with the Cowboy fans, you have to deal with a certain amount of people that just act up, and it's across every sport.
Yeah.
So, and all it is just more money grab, because you're still going to be paying $12 a beer. I mean, the price doesn't go down
at least.
because they extended
least.
the hours. If anything, it might go up.
Yeah, and
because it's after hours.
And I said this on Facebook, and I'm just clearing out some tabs here of what I've already talked about here. The one thing is, when you cut off beer sales at the 7th inning stretch or after the 7th inning, depending on what half of the 7th inning that they cut the beer sales off, if you think about it, there is that short period, even though it's not really short enough for some people that have to drive home. There is that drying out period where the alcohol level does go down.
Right.
Now,
And you might have grabbed some food. when you went and got the last beer. You know, you might have got some food, some nachos. So now the nachos are whatever you eating is soaking it up, or you know, getting you a little bit. Is it a lot sober more? Probably not, but
But you know, I mean, personally, I think it's a bad idea, only because it only takes one. It only takes one to, you know, you have a DUI, DWI, whatever they classify it as. All you need is one, and you just need to trace it back to Milwaukee or Philly or Baltimore or the Mets or the Yankees. You know, all you got to do is trace it back to they were at the stadium. Baseball's is
allowing
accountable.
alcohol late, yeah.
They're accountable for it because it's the same as being
A
in a
bar
bar.
giving you and being overserved.
Exactly. Now, in my case, I've only been overserved once in my life, but that bar was 2 blocks away from my house, and I walked home.
Yeah, but you look at it like this, or you know, look at it however. You don't still see too many, especially out here. You don't still see too many bars getting blamed for overserving somebody. That still is something that is not getting accounted for, I think, for the most part.
And it's hard to prove, but yeah,
I don't know how it is out in Philly, but
yeah,
still out here, like people are leaving sloshed
yeah,
out of bars and area. You know, they were overserved.
yeah. Like the mayor of a town right outside of Philadelphia, or Upper Darby, the mayor got caught drinking and driving. Believe it or not.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, you do have a right to drink, you know, but not everybody can drink responsibly. There's always going to be at least that one that you have to cut off. You have to make sure that they're not driving home, you know, whatever you have to do.
Right.
But I never really was a drinker, but when I did drink, I did drink too much. That I knew what I had to do to make sure I didn't wake up the next morning with a hangover, for example. And I still got a hangover half the time, but you know, I wasn't that much of a drinker. Now I don't drink at all. It's not anything to do with addiction to alcohol. It was just a personal decision I made. It was like also, you know, being single and living all alone. I gotta get up off the couch or the rocker and gotta go to the fridge to get a beer. Screw that, man. I need a woman in here so I can say, "Go get me a beer, bitch."
Yeah,
But you know, and I wish I had that sound drop from "It's Always Sunny in Philly." But one day I'll have it. But yeah, I mean, it's an experiment. I think it could be a dangerous experiment because and even now, even if you go extra innings on a game, usually you're not going too far past the 11th inning because of the fact you got those ghost runners now permanently. So you don't have that opportunity to dry out, in my opinion.
right.
That's what I'm concerned about because, you know, I mean, even though this is a bit distasteful, Billy Martin, Dennis Leary has a thing on his comedy album, No Cure for Cancer. Famous last words, Billy Martin. Hey, I can drive. Now, you know, it's insensitive, but you know,
Yeah.
you think you can drive, or you think, hey, you know, I can make it home, or I'm not that drunk, or whatever the excuse is. But now, even more than ever, I mean, you can just look on your phone, I mean, I'll show you my phone. Even though I don't drink, well, I don't drive either, but the first two apps, and if you can't see it, that's fine. First two apps there, Lyft and Uber.
Yep.
Boom. Like I went when we went out after the we hung out at the live casino after the Sixers game because we pivoted to that instead of the Phillies game. Hung out there. It was like after 12 o'clock when I left. I took an Uber home. No big deal.
How far is it from your house?
Probably about 8 to 10 miles.
Oh, so it
Because
was.
I'm on the opposite end of the city.
Yeah. So, and such a great point. I went out with some of the guys at work, and I live on the other side of town to them. So I said, hey, the wife said, yeah, I know you're gonna drink, so you might as well. So I was like, yeah, why don't you drop me off, and I'll get an Uber home.
Mhm.
Sure enough, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to get an Uber home because we went bar hopped and we were
Yeah.
supposed to watch the UFC fight, but it didn't work out. Anyway, blah blah blah. Make a long story short, here I am paying $60 to get home instead of spending a night in jail and paying over $20,000 in fees and all that. When
Mhm.
$60, the guy he was a good driver. We talked. He was like from Russia, and
Mhm.
we had. I was drunk in the back, and he might have been trying to tell me, "Just shut up. Let me get you home."
Yeah.
But it was,
Yeah.
that's it's yeah.
Yeah, and I use it once in a while, and I don't know if I was talking to my dad or I don't know who I was talking to, but usually I say what I usually do is I just go back and forth. I'm like, all right, Uber's 32, Lyft is 29. Okay, we're
Yeah.
using Lyft tonight. That's
Yeah.
what I usually do. I just compare the two and go from there.
Right.
But but I don't, I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink at all anymore. I'm glad I don't drink. It's so
How long
much.
has it been since you had an alcoholic drink, Joe? You think?
6 years.
Nice.
Be 6 years this
Nice.
summer because I
Nice.
had high blood pressure issues.
Congratulations, man.
Well, thank you, but I mean, it isn't anything to do with alcoholism or anything like that. It's just a personal choice.
Right.
Some people never choose to pick up a drink.
Right.
Some people have to make that decision for their health, for their family. Sometimes sometimes booze can ruin a family, ruin your life, ruin everything.
Yep.
I had other things that ruin life and everything like that.
Right.
I mean, I'm joking around, but with that part,
No.
but
Yeah.
but I mean, that's the thing. Whether it's alcohol, drugs, gambling, even if you're going to take something, you know, it's everything you can get so addicted on. You know,
Yep.
you just got to know when to stop, and you know, it, it's just a way what you have to do to make sure you live the best life possible and
Right.
don't get yourself into trouble long term.
There you go.
So, just trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to mention here before. Um, let me see here. I think I covered everything here. Just taking a look here before I close everything out here for the night. and this won't be in the notes here, but let me tell you something. I have a fantasy baseball team this year. I have I have 8 guys that are on the injured list right now. 8.
Wow.
Well, I drafted. Well, it's a keeper league, and it's rotisserie. So I kept Bryce Harper, knowing that he would be back around Memorial Day. But I had Max Fried. He injured himself opening day. Andres Munoz, who's a reliever with Seattle, he's hurt. Carlos Rodon, I drafted knowing that he was hurt. Daniel Bard has anxiety. Brandon Woodruff hit the DL today. Tim Anderson hit the DL today, and that was a pretty scary injury. But it appears that they put him on the DL. So I got 8 guys on the DL.
Wow.
I mean, my God, it's only 2 weeks into the season. I got no luck whatsoever.
Are some of them coming back here in the next couple of weeks?
I gotta take a look at that.
Dang.
But it's just really. I mean, when it rains, it pours.
Are you feeling that the World Series hangover too, Joe? Like the Phillies?
No. I mean, I had a bad season last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I finished up in 8th out of 10 teams. Well, I didn't really know what I was doing on top of it, but it just seems like everybody's injured. I think I'm going to have a 9th guy that's going to go in the DL soon.
Dang.
I mean, my God. I mean, I got to figure something out here over the next couple of days.
You need to give yourself one of those.
All right, I will.
No.
But yeah, I mean.
Well, who would have thought? Like you ever thought you would go, with players on the whole team? Almost like no.
Crazy. But it happens sometimes, and just that everybody's getting it at the same time.
Yep.
But let me just check one last thing here. Don't see any. I'm trying to look for the news stories here. Oh well. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the playoffs, and maybe I'll give my picks for the playoffs on Thursday. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We also got the NHL playoffs starting up, I think, this weekend.
I was thinking, I was watching some games today, and I was thinking it was the playoff games, but they're not. They're getting ready.
No.
It's getting close.
Um,
Where's our boy Luch when we need him?
Oh, I know. And Mickey left us. Yeah, I had to give him a hard time, But it's all he knows it's all in fun. So
yeah.
You got a number?
Okay, so there's 4 days left. Just trying to see when they would start. Okay, so the season ends. Well, the season was to end on Thursday. Thursday's the last day of the regular season. And then you have, whoops. Oh, that's not, okay. So the last game of the season is Thursday, but there's 2 makeup games that they have to play on Friday. Buffalo and Columbus on Friday. I don't think that means anything. Buffalo might be out of the playoffs here. They were teetering on the edge. Now, Buffalo has been eliminated, so that game doesn't mean anything. It's just gate revenue that the 2 teams will have. Colorado plays Nashville. Gate revenue for Nashville, Colorado, a game that they have to play that they'll probably bring up their, who knows what they'll do, but well, actually, that's going to mean something for them because they're in a fight for the division. Colorado's with 104 points. Dallas is with 104. Minnesota's with 102. Looks like the West is going through Vegas. Vegas is up 2 points on Edmonton, 107 to 105. Kings with 102. The Kraken with 100. Kraken is the wild card. Winnipeg is, well, Kraken's the wild card right now. Winnipeg is the one wild card, that, and we'll see who that other wild card team is. And we're looking to see who the, well, it's down between the Islanders and the Penguins. Islanders have a 1-point lead on the Penguins for the last playoff spot. So, so we'll see what happens in the next couple of days as we close out the regular season in the NHL to the greatest playoffs there is. Because even though the playoffs in the NHL, for the most part, the last few years has been more predictable than not, it's not as bad as what the NBA has been over the last 20, 25 years, where you can pretty much play chalk all along. And do want to thank ThePenguinAZ for joining me on the stream tonight. Always great to talk to him. He will be on Friday night on Last Call with Duncan Dad, himself, and Play Action Reel. Great show that follows the Tony Bruno show. Tony Bruno show starts at 7 on Friday. The Last Call is about 9:15, so give about 10, 15 minutes after Tony Bruno's show ends. And Tony should be back this week because he was actually away this weekend. From what I saw on Twitter, he was visiting family for Easter. So I do want to thank ThePenguinAZ for joining me in the chat here. And, do want to thank Mickey for joining me tonight as well. And, if you're listening to the podcast and if you want to join me, come on over, nofilter.net. Look for that Welcome to Philadelphia sign that got doctored up for my show. Thank you to Rock and Reese for doing that because I wasn't expecting it. Great job by him. And, you come into the page. First, you get the free ticket. You think I would charge you for this shit? Hell no. Then you go to the bottom right-hand side. You see a fist there. Click on it. It goes from white to blue. I bring you in. You adjust your settings to accept the camera and the microphone, or the microphone if you want to be Mr. Incognito. That's fine as well. We'll gladly protect your identity if you're in the witness protection program. And we'll talk like we did tonight. We went all over the place, and that's like I joked around tonight. Let's see how many tangents I get into tonight. So, but it's all in good fun, and I enjoy it here at No Filter, and always fun. And hopefully, I'll see you guys again on Thursday night when we
Do it live! Do it live! Do it live!
do it live. Tuesday and Thursday night at 9:15 p.m. And I will, in a couple of weeks, be getting some RAM for my computer that I'm using. So we're going to boost up the RAM on there. We're going to be turbocharged, like PenguinAZ said. And maybe I get a Stream Deck where I can load like 32, or if there's a program that I can use where I can like maybe hook up my iPad or something like that and be like Tony, paging through 15 pages of things just so I can get my one drop in. Whatever it is, we'll get more drops in there, and and hopefully you guys won't be saying this about me all the time.
Who the fuck is that guy?
But anyways, do want to thank you all for joining me tonight. PenguinAZ, thanks for knocking tonight, and we'll do it again on Thursday night at 9:15 Eastern, 6:15 Pacific. If you're not in the Pacific or in the Eastern time zones, figure it out. Anyways, thanks a lot for joining me tonight. I will catch you Thursday night on nofilter.net. Philly Guy Speaks podcast, part of the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Good night, everybody.